Hi, I'm with Caolite the Barra, and we're going to talk about the card this week between Moraes and Sanhagen. Obviously, this is a great main event with top 5 bantamweight fighters, and this is a very good card in contrast to last week's in terms of the name value, in terms of the prospects that are on it, and just a lot of 50-50 really good fights. We're going to go briefly through the prelims and then go in more depth with the main card. First up, we have Tagir Ulanbekov versus Bruno Silva. Tagir Ulanbekov is 12-1. He's a new flyweight. He's meant to have his debut for a while now. He's had a few pullouts. Obviously, he's from Team Khabib. You think he was meant to fight on Khabib Ferguson card, and then Khabib had to pull out, and I think he did as well due to Khabib's father, who's I think is also Tagir's trainer. He's a very good fighter. His only losses come to Zalgiris Zumagulov, and a lot of people say that Tagir could have won that fight. That he could be undefeated. He's a very talented guy, 12-1, fighting Bruno Silva, who he was a bantamweight, I think, and in his last fight he fought Dvorak in the flyweight division. We've seen Dvorak get a good win over Jordan Espinosa, and recently Silva's got a mixed record. He's 10-5-2, not the greatest of records, but I think Tagir will win. I think he could submit him in round 2. How do you see it going?
I think I agree with you. Yeah, so for Bruno Silva, I was watching 2 of his fights before. I watched his last 2 fights, and he's good. I'm not exactly sold on him though. Before the UFC, he fought some good guys, but I don't think he was fighting the same level as Tagir was. And Tagir's been fighting in he's been fighting Fight Nights Global, Guerrilla Fighting Championship, and I think he's just been on a tear, and he's been doing really well. But I think I'll agree with you. But I'm gonna go for instead of the second round, his last 2 were second round submissions. I'm gonna say for his debut, he's gonna get a finish. So I'll probably go for a submission or a TKO in round 1.
Yeah, Bruno Silva didn't look too bad against Dvorak. I just think Ulanbekov is on another level, and I think this is really good from the UFC. They're starting to rebuild that flyweight division again. We've got a lot of good talent. Before we go on to the next fight, do you think that the flyweight division's really underrated, and do you feel like that UFC is starting to market it a bit more better by getting so many good new guys in now?
Yeah, I feel like it's come a long way since talks of it being dissolved. So I remember when there was that time where the flyweight division, everyone was talking about, they're going to cut the flyweights, and then Henry Cejudo comes along and he's saying he's going to save the flyweights. There was a time at that time it was so thin. There wasn't really much kind of entertainment value. There was entertainment value, but there wasn't as much of a draw to that division anymore. But they're signing all these guys like that Tagir Ulanbekov. That's an amazing signing, and definitely one for the future. They've got some really good guys coming up in there. The likes of Brandon Moreno, so exciting. These guys, all these ones that are coming up through the ranks are so good. They're all good to watch. They're likable fighters as well. So more people are getting on board, and I feel like that division is probably here to stay now as a result.
And also, they also are main eventing a pay-per-view next month between Figueiredo and Perez. I'm not sure if that will change because Garbrandt has been took off. He might add in another world title fight. I'm not too sure, but I hope they do get the stay as a main event. They deserve it. They're a very fun division. I think they're fun event heavyweight division. I've said this a lot. I've said if there's any division to go, I'd rather the heavyweight division because I just don't think it's very good. Especially some of the guys outside the top 15 or even in top. You got obviously Sanhagen, who's really good. You got Ngannou. You got all these other guys, but some of them just, if they're not KO, it's boring. While in the flyweight and the bantamweight division, they're just really fun fights.
The high pace. It's the high pace for me. I see what you mean. Yeah, the high pace of those lower weights is so good to watch.
Yeah. Next we've got Tracy Cortez versus Stephanie Egger. This is coming off a debut win over Vanessa Mello, I think it was, who's a tough fighter. She doesn't really get stopped, so she's got a few losses on her record. I think she might be 10-7, but that's Melo, obviously not Cortez. Cortez is 7-1. She's a good talent. She beat Maria Agapova on the Contender Series as well. I don't really know much about her opponent. She's 5-1 from Switzerland. She's ranked number 8 in Western Europe on Topology. But I think Cortez will win. I think she's more experienced, and I think she's fought better opposition in Melo and Agapova, which is a big win. Obviously, Agapova was meant to be this next big thing, and then obviously we've seen, unfortunately, what's happened with her against Shana Dobson. But I think Cortez will win. I think she needs to win. I feel like this bantamweight division, the women's division, needs to have new stars, because obviously with Holm winning last week and Durandamy, there's not really any new challenges for Nunes at the moment. Obviously, you got Aspen Ladd coming through, but I think she's only coming off one win, and I don't know if someone fighting for a title coming off one win. So, I think the UFC will want Cortez to win. I feel like that's a big market for her to. She's been very marketable. What do you think about the fight, and do you know much about the opponent?
The opponent, I know she fought on, wasn't it, Risen before? I'm pretty sure I watched that card. Now I can be honest with you, I don't recall it too much. It was the Reina fight. I've definitely seen it, yeah. But I do think that, like, obviously it was originally supposed to be Tracy Cortez versus Bia Malecki. Thought that was really marketable fight. Two fighters that are kind of like picking up in their popularity is gaining massively. So I think that as a result of, I think Eggers after taking this at relatively short notice, and considering the amount of the win that Tracy Cortez had over Melo, I think Cortez will probably take it. I'd say they would be hoping for her to win it, but also Stephanie Egger has a fairly big opportunity to come out and cause an upset and make a name for herself in the UFC here as well.
Mm-hmm. And to be fair, like with women's MMA, is obviously quite unpredictable, because I feel like anyone, MMA in general, is like, if you catch someone on a bad day or you just have a fantastic performance, you can win every fight. And obviously she's 5-1, she's got a very good record. I'm not counting her out. I think Cortez will win by decision. I just feel like I've seen more of her. I think I saw the Reina fight, I think in Rising. I think I saw it. But it should be a good fight. I think I'm looking forward to it. It's got two good prospects on the card. Next is a fight I really like, one of my favourite fights on the card is Giga Chikadze versus Omar Morales. 10-2 versus 10-0. Giga Chikadze is obviously a very high level kickboxer, really good striker. He's done a lot of his work in Glory Kickboxing, which is the number one kickboxing organisation in the world. His opposition hasn't been great though. He's fought a lot of guys he should win against. A lot of set fights for him.
Were some of these fights that they were against? Where was it? It was a Gladiator Challenge. I'll have a look at there. Were they in? Oh no, never mind. I thought they were in Georgia and they weren't able to find it, because there was a fighter, I'm pretty sure, that Georgia was saying on Twitter that they couldn't, that records weren't easily found for a lot of guys, but these ones actually they were there to be found. So you're right there. Apologies. Yeah. He hasn't actually fought that good a competition, but he's looked good in the UFC.
Mm-hmm. He has. I think that he's got all the tools to be a very good fighter. I feel like he's very skillful. He's obviously coming off good wins against Jamal Emmers, Erwin Rivera, and Brendan Davis, which was split decision, I think it was, which maybe not looked too great. Brendan Davis is a very tough guy, but he's had a lot of losses on his. I think he's 10-8. I think he is now. I think he's not in the UFC any longer. Jamal Emmers is probably his best win of his career, probably, if you look at the records based on Emmers' record. And then Erwin Rivera, we know how tough he is. He can take so many great shots. And Giga he didn't struggle with him, but you thought he might have stopped Erwin Rivera, as Erwin Rivera is a bantamweight and he was coming in on short notice. You kind of wanted a more of a solid performance from Giga in terms of he could have stopped him, but still good performance. He's fighting Omar Morales, who It's kind of like a late guy coming into the UFC. He's 35 years old, 10-0, coming off good wins over Gabriel Benitez. I think his name is Gabriel Benitez.
That's it, yeah.
And a Korean guy, I can't remember the guy's name. He was a very experienced guy. I think he had like 27 fights around about there on his debut in South. I think it might be in South Korea. He made his debut. I think Moraes will win.
It was.
He's a very come forward fighter. He might not seem to hit hard, but it's just the volume he fights at. He never lays anything back. He always tries to go and KOs you. I thought he might have struggled with his cardio, just the way he fights and because of his age, but he's got very good cardio. He's got very good fitness. I think he'll bully Giga Chikadze in there. I think he'll be the bigger guy because he's moving down to the featherweight division. It'd be interesting if he's got any wrestling baits to him, because I think that's the fight where he might want to take it, because I feel like Giga's, I've said just loads of times, kickboxers are used to fighting really good fighters. They fight high-level fighters all the time. He'll be used to this big step up for him, and I think he's just a high-level IQ fighter, which a lot of these kickboxers are. But I think Moraes will win. I think he's just got such a good pressure style, very good fighter, and I feel like he might be in a bit of a rush now, so he's thinking, well, I need to win every single fight, put pressure on myself. How do you see the fight going?
So if going by what who thinks I'll win, it's probably going to be Giga Chikadze, because I remember. So I watched him. I remember when I was in college, I was watching his kickboxing fights quite a lot. So I used to love watching kickboxing just casually in the evenings if I wasn't watching MMA. So I'd always watch. I remember I came across him and I was thinking, wow, this guy's class. And then, I kind of forgot about him after a while, thinking I just kind of knew him as this kickboxer. And then I saw he got signed to the UFC, and all of a sudden he just said, I was like, wow, this is the same guy I was watching before. This guy's great. I love watching him. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm delighted. I think he'll probably win if he keeps it on the feet. He's lethal striking, like so good to watch. Omar, then you were saying, yeah, he's coming down, undefeated, very good record. He's fought some decent level opponents as well. Not sure how that cut's good. Like he's 34 now. He was fighting at lightweight for his last few fights. So his last 2 fights in the UFC and also his Contender Series one. So that drop is going to be, I don't know how that 10 pounds of a cut extra is going to impact him much. So just from actually making weight previously, I'm going to go with and just pure experience from his striking background, I'm going to go Giga in this one. Excuse me.
No, it's fine. And also, I was Moraes is a very big guy as well. I thought he could have made welterweight. I feel like he's quite a stocky lightweight. I think I'm quite shocked he's going down division rather than moving up. But I don't really know. I think I need to see in the weigh-ins of that fight. It depends on how he looks. I think at the moment I'm going to go with Moraes, but we'll see tomorrow how he weighs in. But he won't stop him. I think it'll be very close. It could even be a split decision. I don't think either guy will be dominated. I just think they're too good for it not to be a close fight. Next, a guy that probably should have won his debut, in my opinion.
Thought that too.
Is Tony Kelly. He was the first ever Jordanian fighter to come into the UFC. They've got so much good talent coming up in the Middle East with Brave, and so many good fighters coming from that region. And Ali Al-Kisi is good. I just feel like seeing his fight sometimes I didn't think he's got a strong wrestling as I thought he might have done. When I saw him in a couple of fights, I felt like he was quite a strong wrestler, but he's not the strongest of wrestlers really. But I thought he beat Erwin Rivera. I feel like he got robbed in that fight.
Oh yeah.
I'm not just saying that because it was a close fight. I thought it was quite clear to Ali Al-Kisi.
I thought he got robbed. I scored it for him too. Yeah, I was pretty shocked by that one personally. But yeah, I agree with you on that.
He's fighting a guy called Tony Kelly, who's in a very good fight against Kai Kamaka III. In his UFC debut, he was coming off a loss, but he had a lot of good moments in that fight. He's inexperienced. He's only had 8 fights. I don't
Still
think
good.
he's good. I don't think he's like the youngest of guys. I think he might be in his early 30s. I think I might be wrong there.
Yeah, he's 33.
I think this is the worry about what the UFC keep on signing. Like you got Daniel Rodriguez as well, who's a very good fighter, but they're signing a lot of these guys who are like in the mid 30s or 33s, and I feel like you're gonna have to try and rush them. And obviously Kelly's coming off a loss already. He didn't take too much damage in that fight. I thought it was a close fight. I thought he did lose it though, but I think Ali Al-Khaisi will win. I think he will win by decision. What do you think?
Because solely Ali Al-Khaisi I feel like he got robbed in that last fight. I'm gonna pick him again here. He stood out like his performance stood out. I really enjoyed watching him, and from what I can remember of Tony Kelly, like it wasn't the most memorable of debuts. I can't remember perfectly, but I will go with what my recent memory is, and that is Ali Al-Khaisi. So I'll be honest, that I'm just not too sure, but I will go with Ali Al-Khaisi.
And another great fight on the card is between Impa Kasanganay versus Joaquin Buckley, which is a fantastic fight. Buckley,
what a fight!
Welterweight, isn't he? Hasn't he fought at welterweight before? I know he's fought Holland at middleweight, but I think I've heard someone say that he's a natural welterweight and he's just fought at middleweight because he's not really wanting to make the cut yet. But this is a really good fight. But it's a bit like the Gerard Meerschaert fight versus Chimaev in terms of Buckley's just coming off a loss, a KO loss in the third round to Kevin Holland, which was only a couple months ago now. And we've seen what's happened with Gerard Meerschaert when he lost to Ian Heinisch. We saw him get KO'd in the first round. I think he'll get KO'd. I don't think it'll be in the first round. I think it might be in the late rounds, round 3, because Impa is a very good fighter, but I don't think he's the most powerful in terms. I don't think he's got knockout power, because I think we've seen in his Contender Series fight. In the first fight, he was definitely wrestling orientated. I felt like wrestling heavy, and I feel like he now went away and focused on more on his striking, because we haven't really seen, even in the Contender Series, we didn't really see much of his wrestling. He was more striking, and against Solo, we didn't really see him wrestling. But I hope he hasn't given that up completely, because I feel like if he gets in trouble, he's very good on the ground and he can get himself back into dominant positions using it. But if his striking's working for him, we might as well just continue doing it. I think he will win. I think didn't really take much damage against Maki Pitolo. It was a good fight. It was a close fight at the start of it, and I think he just pulled away from it. Buckley is a very talented fighter. I just feel like if this fight happened in early January, it might have changed my mind, but I just feel like him having such a quick turnaround after such a great fight, and it was a really good fight between him and Holland, it's too early for him, and I think Impa will continue his momentum and will become 9-0.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm a fan of Impa after his Contender Series fight, and then he just decided that, you know what, give me a fight, and then hops on a card. He was meant to hop on a card that was 11 days later, and then but that ended up being pushed out another 8 days, so he ended up fighting the 29th. So he just wanted to fight, and I love it. Yeah, it was great. I was delighted to see him fight. He was so good, impressive, looked good in there. That momentum, as you said, is probably going to be massive. So he's fought he's fought twice this year already. He's about to be his third. You'd probably see him fight a fourth realistically as well. So I'll pick him to win, but I don't think it's going to be easy for him. I think it's going to be a bit of a grind for him to try and win this. So his wrestling could become very important in this if he can't get the finish. But I'll go with him too.
Another great prospect. I'm not going to say it's another great fight because it's not really the best of stylistic matches. I don't feel like, because I think Rodrigo Nascimento versus Chris Daukaus will either be it'll be presumably on the ground for most of the fight. Nascimento is a very good BJJ artist. We saw what he was against Dontel Myers. And we've seen in the heavyweight, we don't see many great wrestlers in the heavyweights, and I feel like we've seen a couple recently with Romanov and someone else. I can't remember what his name is. But with Nascimento, I feel like that will be a massive, and BJJ guy as well. So it will be a massive advantage in this heavyweight division. I think he's a very good prospect to look out for. He's 8-0 from Brazil. He's fighting Dalcos, who's 9-3. Who's coming off a win over Parker. I can't remember.
Parker Porter, yeah.
Yeah, Parker Porter. Chris Dalcos is obviously Kyle Dalcos' brother. I feel like he wouldn't, for his only chance to win the fight is for him to keep it on the feet. I don't think he has got any other chance any other way, and I just don't think he'll be able to keep it off the ground. I think Nascimento will submit him in round one. I think this guy's very good, and I feel like he's going to move up the rankings very quickly.
Yeah, it's a fairly. I like this fight. It's kind of that that kind of typical grappler versus striker in a sense. Nascimento looked he looked solid in both his outings now. His jiu-jitsu's different level, especially for heavyweight. Like, you don't see them usually on the mat that much. I'd love to see if he does pull a few wins together. I'd love to see him against Alexander Olniak. That'd be a great one. But his striking, I think, needs a little bit of improvement first. But I'd love to see him actually show off his striking and see if he actually improved that anyway in this fight, because that's be a good way for him to kind of solidify it. Because Daukaus hasn't really been, like, his debut, fantastic. He loves to finish fight. Has any of his fights gone to a decision? He's got one fight's been to a decision. It's insane. The guy loves a finish. So I'm not really sure what his gas tank's like just yet. So I'm interested to see what happens if he goes past second round. So I think if he gets past round one, and if he manages to keep on feet, that's what's going to be key for him. But I'll go with Nascimento for submission, but I'm going to go in round two, just because I'm not too sure about the gas tank just yet. I could be completely wrong. He can knock him out in round one now, but we'll see. It's the beauty of MMA.
And I feel like Nascimento's gas tank should be really good. I feel like if you're a wrestler or a BJJ guy, your cardio has to be at a very top level, because it's obviously very tiring. Obviously, constantly looking for the submission, constantly taking the guy down. And obviously, that will tire Dalcos out a lot, obviously, if he wants to try getting back up. And I just feel like Nascimento's, and he's in good condition, isn't he? He's not like out of shape heavyweight like some of the guys sometimes are. So I feel like
even if they look out of shape, you see that. I don't think it matters. They can have gas tank for days. Like, you look at the likes of Roy Nelson, who just knock guys out.
Yeah, I just think Nascimento's a lot better than Dalcos. I think he's got a lot more A side to him. He's obviously a very young heavyweight. 28 is obviously very young anyway, but he's also very young heavyweight division. I think he will win, and I think he will be a very future star of the division. Next, we've got another good fight between Tom Breeze and KB Barra. That was obviously meant to happen last weekend, I think. I'm not too sure why it got pulled out. I can't really remember. Tom Breeze is obviously a guy that struggled with his anxiety recently as well. Like, he's struggled to get fights or just had bad anxiety. He's a very talented guy, but I feel like they've not been smart in the way they've matched him up. I don't think. I feel like why are you giving him Brendan Allen, who was 2-0 at the time, who's coming off wins of Kevin Holland, and I can't remember the guy he beat before he beat Tom Breeze. That was a ridiculously tough fight for him to come back to after he had a big layoff as well before that.
2 years, yeah.
Layoff. So I feel like maybe they should have given him a guy like KB Barra at the very start on his comeback, or just someone of a veteran. I don't they could have given like a Marcus Perez, who's on this card as well. They could have done that or something like that. But he's 11-2. He's from England. He's a very good fighter. He's been for a while. He's beaten guys like Dan Kelly. I think which was a while ago now, because Dan Kelly, I think, is retired for a few years now. So that just shows how long he's been around for. He's still quite young, Tom Breeze. I think he's early 30s now. I'm just not sure how quickly he's recovered from that ground and pound loss to Brendan Allen. Obviously, Brendan Allen's a very talented fighter, but
that was a tough loss. I remember it, yeah, because I really like Tom Breeze. I think I was watching him back in the Bama days when he was fighting in Bama. I remember watching some of his fights. Or was it, sorry, it was Cage Warriors, but the fight I remember seeing before he got to the UFC. And then the UFC, I was following him quite a bit as well. I would have watched some of his fights back afterwards. But yeah, he went on a tear at the start. He got a round 1 KO in his debut, and then he went off and just destroyed Cathal Pendred, which is a heartbreaker for me personally because, the Irish connection. But yeah, he went on a tear. What was he, 3-0, lost his next fight, then split decision, Sean Strickland. Could have gone either way, won his next then against Kelly. And then he had that spell out where he had how many fights? 1, 2, 3, 4 fights cancelled before he finally got a fight. And he just didn't look himself in there last time. So I think this is going to be a really tough fight because Bullar's Bullar's talented. So I think it's going to be a really tough fight for him. But it depends which Tom Breeze we see. If Tom Breeze comes in if we see him kind of reignited, and the last one was just it was just a bit of ring rust came into play. If that's gone now and he comes back the way you see him and he's handled everything perfectly and he's feeling good, I think he could get the win here. What about you?
I think Breeze will win. I'm not too much. I don't know much about KB Bullar, to be honest. I know he's 8-0. Seen some people say obviously every time he's done a slight little step up in competition, he's won by decision. He's not been able to KO those guys, so that's it's not worrying, but it kind of says he obviously can't get rid of certain opposition or guys who are very durable. And Tom Breeze is durable. I just think he just fought a very good opponent in Brendan Allen.
Yeah.
He probably got. He was in a very good fight in his last fight against. Well, it was Kyle Del Costa, the guy he beat as well. So. He's both very talented fighters, very good fight, but I think Breeze will win by decision probably. I don't really know much about Bullar, and I think I missed a lot of Breeze's career because I'm fairly new to the sport, so I'm like I've not really got the Brendan Allen fight really to judge him on.
That's fair.
Fight, so it's just I don't really know much about. But the next fight, which is the start of the main card, which is a fantastic fight. Probably better than the original fight that Yusuf Zalal was going to have. I feel like and he could be on the prelims as well. So he's fighting a guy called Ilya Tapora, who is of Spanish origin, but born in Germany. I think grew up in Spain, but now represents Georgia. He's really good fighter. He's fought in Brave. But he's taken on a week's notice. I'd have loved this fight to have a main card at full camp because I just feel like the build would have been good. I feel like you could have gone this prospect. I think it would have been a good selling point for the main card, which is fantastic anyway. Normally, I don't really like seeing this in terms of two really high-level prospects at such a young age fight each other, but they kind of had to. And I think Zalal deserves to be on the main card. And obviously, his fourth fight this year and his fourth fight in the UFC, all of them have been this year, and he's fought really good opposition. He's fought Jordan Griffin, Peter Barrett, and Austin Lingo. Austin Lingo was undefeated. I think they were meant to fight in LFA, and then they both got signed to the UFC, and they were like, "Oh, well, you might as well just fight each other there." Jordan Griffin is a really talented fighter, a really tough fighter. Zalal had a hard first round against him, I think it was, and then he pulled away. Griffin got a bit tired. Zalal's cardio was really good. And then he fought Peter Barrett, who was very tough. He saw the way how he survived that spinning kick he did. Spinning head kick he survived. Or he survived something crazy.
Remember it, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Zalal was going to finish that fight, actually. Yeah, I was convinced he was going to finish that fight. That was a really, he looked good there now.
And Zalal's obviously another guy, like I've said about KB Bullar, in terms of Zalal's. I looked at his record recently, and he's finished a lot of guys on the regional scene, and then he comes into the UFC and then doesn't get a finish. But he's looked so good in his recent fight. He's looked so good recently. Yeah. So I think he'll win. I think a lot of people are saying if it was on a bull camp, a lot of people will be going to Tapora. I've not really seen much of him, but he's a very young fighter, 23 years old, 8-0. And a lot of people are very high on him. Obviously, a lot of the Georgian fan base are very high on him.
Yeah.
And I think this is a very good fight. I feel like even if he loses, he doesn't lose anything, especially if it's a very close fight. I feel like he knows he's going to get another fight anyway, probably.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Zalal, I think it's more pressure on him because obviously more people know him now. He's got his first main card opportunity. Both of them have got their first main card opportunity. They both deserve it. What do you think about the fight?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's going to be. I think this one's got fight of the night written all over it. If Topuria is able to, depending on how he looks, and if I assume he's going to be in really good shape, I assume he's been kind of staying ready just in case this opportunity arose, and which it did. So he could have been actually training all along. I think probably it's. I'm gonna say it's my pick. Probably my pick for fight of the night. The two guys, these just both, they're young, hungry, looking just desperate to get up that division. So I'm not sure who I have. I'd love to. All I'm thinking is fight of the night. I'm so excited for this one. I think it's going to be really, really good. Zalal is a beast. I've seen a bit of Topuria. I remember seeing his fight against Brian Boland in Cage Warriors. Looked fantastic, and he's a solid prospect to be looking out for. So I don't know. I can't put my finger. I've had to pick one. I'd pick Zalal just because I've seen a bit more of him, and his last fight was absolutely lethal. Even though I thought he probably could have got finished, but probably Zalal.
I think if it was anyone else, I would really want Zalal to win and would pick him heavily. I wish it was a draw, to be honest, because I just both prospects can just walk away and their stock doesn't go down. I don't think their stock will go down anyway, but I just feel like
they'd be good.
The best thing would be, hopefully, I think Zalal will win though. I think Zalal is just more experienced in the UFC. I think he's got a kickboxing record as well. I think he comes from Muay Thai. I think so.
Okay.
I might be wrong, but just by his style, it looks very kickboxing orientated or like Muay Thai. So he's a very smart fighter, and I think he will win by decision. I don't think he'll stop.
Okay.
I've not really seen much other than that tells me he's going to stop him unless he catches him with something like he did to Peter Barrett. Obviously, different guys react to different stuff, so you never know. But I think he'll win by decision. Next up, we've got Tom Aspinall versus Aaron Bordeaux. I'm not sure, or Baudo. Tom Aspinall's obviously coming off a fantastic debut over Jake Collier.
Yeah, it's a good fight. Good win, even. Sorry.
I think as impressive that was, Jake Collier is a middleweight, and he was coming up to heavyweight, and obviously he's completely oversized there. And I'm pretty sure he's fighting a heavyweight again against Gian Vellante, which I don't really understand. But I think Aspinall's really good. I think he's trained with guys like Tyson Fury, trains with Darren Till, so he's got the right training going on. And again, he's in Bordeaux. He's 8-1. Again, he's not a heavyweight. He's a light heavyweight fighter. Coming off, I think he's lost to Doucher Lugambula, who's a very good fighter, very tough guy himself. No shame in that. And at the time, he was in the EFC, I think it was, which is a very good promotion in South Africa. He's also got a win over Todd Stout, but that got overturned because Stout submitted him, but Stout tested positive for cannabis, so he had the win got overturned to win for Bordeaux. So he could potentially be coming into the UFC with 2 losses, really. I think Doucher and Stout was back-to-back. So I think Aspinall will win. I think, again, he will have clear the size advantage over him. Aspinall's a natural heavyweight, Bordeaux isn't.
Yeah.
How do you see it?
Aspinall, clear as day. I think his striking so good. His boxing, I was in Liverpool for his last Cage Warriors fight. He was fantastic. Seeing him live, I think I was kind of skeptical after his fight at the previous fight, and I didn't know what to think of him. Saw him live, thought, okay, wow, this guy is he's really, really good. His hands are fantastic. I'm not too sure what he's like in the mat yet. His grappling, I'm not too sure about, but for his hands, absolutely just lethal. Bado Excuse me, I can't say his name correctly. Not fought the greatest competition. Don't think he's exactly at the level, and he's also light heavyweight, as you said. So I don't see him being able to kind of hang in there with Aspinall. So I'm going to pick Aspinall, but I think Aspinall's just going to knock him out within a round, realistically.
And also, we've seen Bordeaux get knocked out pretty badly as well. Obviously, like I mentioned, with the Dalch
Dalch is a beast, so you'd expect you would expect it.
And it was horrible KO, so like really bad. But he is coming off 2 wins. The touchdown fight was before he fought a Japanese guy after that, so he is coming off 2 wins. His next fight is Marcus Perez versus Dricus du Plessis. Du Plessis, very high level prospect, 26 years old, 14-2. Really good fighter. The UFC haven't done Perez any favours. He was meant to fight Rodolfo Vieira, which would have been a ridiculously tough fight for him, and now he's been matched with another ridiculously tough fight for him. Perez, it's such a shame that he's not like fully there in terms of the skill set that you need to be in the UFC, because he's very marketable. We saw what he
the Joker.
I like him. I think his nickname is Maluki, which might mean crazy. I don't know whether that's right, but he's got a very good crazy personality. I enjoy watching him fight. Maybe not because of like the style. I just feel like just the way. No, his style is fun. But I've not watched much of Du Plessis, but a lot of people say how good. I know he's got a very good record. Maybe maybe you can add more on him.
Du Plessis is unbelievable. What a signing. I love it. Absolutely love it. Oh, I've been watching it. I remember watching his EFC fights. So in EFC, he was middleweight, welterweight champion. Now EFC is kind of a mixed bunch of talent. So sometimes the talent in EFC can go either way. Now, in saying that, they've had some great guys come out of there. They've had Dalche, Du Plessis, and then they've had the likes of Danny Henry come out of there. They had Zulu before, but he lost to Jake. It was Jake Hadley. So they've had fantastic fighters out there. So I think he's another one. He proved it with those two title wins. Went to KSW, one of the best in the world. Won the title there, lost it again, but he won it in the first place. He beat Soldich, which is an absolutely insane win. So I think he has the advantage in striking. He's got a little bit of reach as well. So Perez's submission game is quite good. Grappling's really strong. So I think if he kind of use that range, keeps Perez at bay, gets his striking off, and then I think he's kind of he's really well rounded. So I think he'd be able to handle him wherever. I think Du Plessis just finishes this one. To be honest, I think he wins this, despite how tough the fight is.
I've seen this record, and he's fought some really good opposition. Like I said, Roberto. Who's a really good fighter. He lost to him, and then they did an immediate rematch, and then he beat him. His last fight was his title fight, I think, for EFC. I think he was fighting a very good fighter who was 3-0 at the time. I think the promotion was highly pushing him to become the next big thing out of South Africa. There's so many good talents now coming out of Africa and South Africa. Obviously, you've got guys like Don Madge in the UFC, which is he's kind of like a forgotten man. He's not really fought since the Khabib Poirier card, and I feel like that he obviously needs to get more fights. But the talent they have is incredible, obviously, and as a continent alone. And hopefully, it's very once the world gets back to normal, they can go to UFC Africa for the first time.
Yeah, be fun.
I think South Africa, we talk about Morocco being most likely sort of venues for the first event. And obviously, we've seen Brave go to Morocco, which was a success with the Ottoman Azatar. So let's hope that they can do that. And Du Plessis, I think, will win as well, just because I like his record more than Perez's. And he's got more momentum with him as well, so I think he's on like a decent win streak. Next is a heavyweight featured fight, which is not the best of fights, to be honest. Ben Rothwell versus Marcin Tybura. Ben Ben Rothwell's obviously coming off some good wins. He got lucky win over, not lucky, but a very weird fight with what's his name now?
OSP.
OSP and the skyscraper. Stefan
Struve, yes.
Did a low blow stop that? I can't remember. Something happened really weird that completely changed the fight. I can't remember what happened it was.
I didn't watch that one back. I watched the OSP one back, actually. I need to watch it back to have a look at it. But yeah, he's been doing pretty well in recent times after, because he had that USADA suspension, didn't he, for 2 years? So when he came back, I didn't think he was going to do very well, because he went and he came back and he lost 2 in a row. Like that one to Ivanov was, wasn't that much of a, that's nothing to be ashamed of. Mm-hmm. Then when he lost to Arlovsky, I was thinking, okay, I always thought Arlovsky was kind of on the way out. So I was thinking, oh, okay, what's happening? Is Rothwell on the way out? And then he comes back and wins 2. So yeah, it was the Struve one. It's something fight change and happened, and he ended up winning by strikes. But I can't remember exactly, if I'm honest.
And I've said that Ivanov's probably one of the most toughest men, I think, in the UFC ever, because if you get shot in the heart and then stabbed in the heart, and he's just able to continue. He's just such a tough guy, and losing to him is no disgrace. Obviously, he's fought.
Oh, no.
He gave Sakai a tough fight, and he gave Junior Dos Santos, I think, a tough fight. I might have been wrong. I can't remember. I can't remember who it was. I think Ivanov is obviously a very good win. He's a very awkward fighter.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He's tough as nails. Like he's one of the. He's a solid heavyweight now. Like you wouldn't be messing with him. Who was it? He gave Derek Lewis a really good fight. People would have scored in his favour. 2 split decision losses actually in his last one, Sakai and then Lewis. So he's not had the best of luck when it comes to the judges.
I think he won that fight against Derek Lewis. So well, I remember, and I think something happened in the Sakai fight as well. I think Sakai did an illegal thing that completely stopped the fight. But his opponent is Marcin Tybura, who's used his wrestling well recently. He's coming off Sergey Spivak, who's meant to fight Tom Aspinall in this card, which would have been a fun fight. Good step up for Aspinall.
Yeah, true.
I think Tybura will win. I think he will just wrestle him, keep him on the ground, and probably will be a decision. I don't really think there'll be a stoppage. I don't really like this fight, to be honest. I don't really have much to say about it.
I like it, actually. No, I like it to an extent. So I think for me, I'm on the opposite side to you here. I'm going to go with Ben Rothwell. I've loved Ben Rothwell for years. I think his antics, like in terms of his post fight, are so out there, and the way he holds himself, he's really he's likable, but because he's just different, and he knows how to cut a promo post fight in the strangest way, and I don't know, that sells it for me the whole time. Plus, he can knock guys out and he can choke them out as well. He got two front chokes in a row back in 2015, 2016, so over Mitrione and Barnett. So yeah, he's a beast. I'm excited to see him back in there. I think he finishes it with punches, genuine, or one punch. I think it could be like a one punch KO type of job, but I could be wrong now. But that's what I'm going to go with this, and that's what I'd be putting my money on.
I think also what's swaying me, I normally like going for the younger guy just because I feel like if an older guy wins who's like 37 or whatever, I feel like that damages kind of the UFC.
I love it. Oh, wow.
Like, when it's like a prospect, I always want them to win because I feel like they have more potential. I feel like they guys getting out. Like obviously, in that terms, kind of like putting them over, kind of thing. But obviously, we've seen recently what happens. So
yeah, I get you. I love it. Brutally honest, I love it. Absolutely love it. You're right too.
The next fight is Edson Barboza versus Matt Quaney, which is a very good fight. Obviously, it was meant to be Sadiq Youssef versus Barboza in the co-main event, which would have been a very good fight. They've substituted it with another very good fight. I think some people think Amir Khan is not very good, but he is very good. He's got very good wrestling. I think people see that because his cardio's not the best. Like, he does get tired a lot. So but we've seen him put great performances in against Arnold Allen, great performances in against Daniel Henry. I think it was last time out.
Yeah, Daniel Henry. And Chris Fishgold. I think he got did he get performance tonight in that one?
Can't remember.
He did. I remember. Yeah, I was thinking I had to check it there, but he did.
Unfortunately for me, obviously he's beaten a few UK guys in Daniel Henry and Chris Fishgold. He lost a very close fight to Arnold Allen, who's 7-0 in the UFC. He's Jeremy Stephens, for anyone that didn't know, which is a very good fight. Edson Barboza is a guy who used to be in the lightweight division for Khabib Nurmagomedov. He's fought really good opposition. He's arguably coming off a win over Dan Ige, which is in decision.
I'm not even going to go into that one, yeah. That's another one. That's two guys that probably got robbed of a win in their last fight, isn't it? That's Edson Barboza. I thought he won that last one, and what's going on? That's two fights we spoke about now, where these guys are probably robbed of a finish, or robbed of a decision. Now, Danny Ige is no joke, but I had that well in favor of Barboza.
He was on a card where there was a lot of bad decisions. I think it was on the same card as Angela Hill versus Claudia Cadela. I think it was on. Which was also a bad decision.
Yeah, it was. You're right. that explains a lot. 2 in a row. It was on right beforehand. What? Jesus.
I didn't think it was as bad as the rugby as the Hill Cadela.
No.
But
it's desperate.
Ige is a really good fighter. I feel like. But Barboza is obviously very strong. He looked really. People. He's a big guy as well. He's a bit like Moraes. He's a big lightweight, but he looked really good. He come down to the featherweight division, and if he can avoid the takedowns of Amir Khani, I think he will win. I think he will have his own way on the feet, but it's just whether he can stop those takedowns of Amir Khani. But saying, like I've said before, Amir Khani's gas tank's not the greatest, so Amir Khani could win the first round, on Barboza, and then after that, maybe his plan might be to wait until Amir Khani kind of like gasses himself, and then in the later rounds just pick him up. What do you think about it?
I really like it. Yeah, I think it's. I think this not this car. It got hit originally really badly with that fight. I thought Barboza wasn't going to get rescheduled, but putting Amir Khani in there is fantastic. Amir Khani's I think he gets a bit of a hard time. People, especially like the cardio thing. That's something I think he said he's worked on, improved on. That was that Shane Burgos fight. I'm pretty sure it was there. It didn't look great, but I think there was an issue there at the time, which was the reason why. So I didn't exactly try and keep that judgment. He's a really good talent. His wrestling's incredible, but he's up against a hell of a task. Like Barboza, obviously, hadn't had a great time. He's been 1-5 in his last 6 fights. It's not, but he's fought elite competition always. He looked reinvigorated coming down to that featherweight division. I was really disappointed for him when he lost that decision. So for him it's gonna be key. If he keeps that standing, he gets those leg kicks off, a few spinning wheel kicks maybe, or some crazy flashy stuff. Like the size of his legs, you do not want to get kicked from that man. So if Amir Khani can, catch one of those low kicks and turn into a single, turn into a double, take him down to the mat and grappling from there. Now, Barbosa's also no joke. He's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under Ricardo Almeida. I'm pretty sure. I should probably check that before I say that, but we'll go with that anyway. Yeah, he's a BJJ brown belt under Ricardo Almeida. So, he's no joke. He's so well-rounded. So I think that if he keeps the standing and he starts teeing off on those leg kicks and catching his strikes, I think he could win this one. Amir Khani is very good, and he's an exciting fighter, a bit underrated, but I'm going to have to go with Barboza in this one. What are you thinking?
I think Barboza will win. I think he'll win. Round 3 KO. I think he will win. I think he will wear him down really nicely. I think he uses kicks well. I think he should target the body. I just feel like.
Yeah. Did you see that Dan Hooker fight he had? Oh, look at that Dan Hooker fight. If you get a chance, go look at that Barboza and Hooker fight. If you want to see punishment and breaking someone physically, probably mentally too. And in just one fight, that is the one to watch. That was wow. I watched like the last 2 minutes of that back today, and I was just sitting there looking at it like Edson Barbosa. Oh my god, it was insane. I felt bad for Dan Hooker. It was, it just wasn't his day that day. But yeah, Dan Hooker came back, and he's been fantastic since. But that fight Barbosa was unbelievable. Really recommend watching that if you want to see how good he really can be.
I'm a massive Hooker fan, so I probably don't so
say that again. I gotta clip that one.
So I think Barbosa will win. I think he's very high. More experience as well. He's had 29 fights. This will be the fight. Very experienced in UFC. I think he looks good in this division, and I think he can make a title run, hopefully, for him anyway.
Oh,
so
interesting.
Or he can at least make a run into the top 5, I feel like. I
agree.
A lot of really good fights. If he wins, I'd love to see him fight Qatar. I feel like that was a fight that they won.
Very nice.
Which they I felt like they replaced with Ige Qatar in terms of, like, if Barbosa won, we'd have got Barbosa versus Qatar. So hopefully we get to see that fight next. And on to the main event between Marlon Moraes versus Corey Sandhagen. Sandhagen is 12-2. He's coming off a very difficult loss to Aljamain Sterling, which is no shame in. Sterling's literally beaten pretty much everyone around him in the rankings.
Give that man a title shot. My God.
I know. And he's also and I think the complicated thing about it is it's hard to sell Sterling a title shot if Moraes wins, because Moraes
Aldo.
So but I think Sandhagen was good. I just feel like he kind of got manhandled in that fight, which people were expecting to happen. He's fighting against a guy who's very dangerous. He's known to be a very dangerous fighter, even in the WSOF. He had a lot of hype going into the UFC. He's been matched probably one of the hardest records I think I've seen in a while. Especially, I think he's only had like 8 fights in the UFC, and you just look at the guys he's fought: Sterling, Assunção twice, Aldo.
He's fought everyone.
His body of work is just ridiculously good, and I feel like that's what they do with a lot of these guys who've got I've noticed now with the UFC they've done with guys who are like 17-6, so they kind of matched them up, kind of with finish top 15 level, and then they'll just get them straight into the rankings. So I feel like that's what they did with Moraes' case. They put him straight into the top 5. I think Sansa might be in top 5 at the time. So, and I think he will win. I just think Sandhagen's obviously coming off I think it was first round KO. Submission, I think it was. Defeat, and it's obviously not as damaging as a KO, but it does hurt your confidence when you do a full training camp and then you lose in the first round. So you might be not gun shy, kind of be scared to throw anything really, because with Moraes, if you're not a quick starter, you're going to get KO'd. Or like if you throw something, Moraes slips it and then head kicks him. You like to say head kick KO.
It's a bit of a size difference, though. Do you not think?
Yeah. Moraes is very small for the division, isn't it?
Well, I think you can be. You're perfectly fine being small in that division, but I think Sandhagen, he fought at featherweight before, and he's just he's 5'11", I think it is. Sorry.
He's fought Jamal Emmers, hasn't he?
He's fought. What? He was the featherweight champion. I can't think of it now where it was. I was only looking at it earlier. He was featherweight champion before. It's Cage Fury or LFA or one of those. Oh, I should know this. I was only looking at it. It's going to wreck my head. But he, like that long range, I think that's going to be an issue because Moraes loves that head kick as well. And you see he gets finishes with it. He's a real technically good striker. So I think that's going to cause a bit of an issue with getting that win as well. That range, trying to break it down and break down the footwork of him as well. just checked that where he was fighting LFA. That's what it was. Yeah, got it right second time. LFA for Sanhagen.
I think there's obviously easy ways for for Sanhagen to win. I think he obviously taking the ground.
Yeah.
He cannot stay there standing. He can't around the find his range or what. I know this might be a height advantage, but you see a lot of the times where kind of the small guy will try to swarm him, and I think pressure him Mexican kind of style, kind of fighting. And Moraes got enough power. If he catches Sanhagen maybe on the back foot as well, I feel like Moraes' clear path to win is on the feet.
Yeah.
And for him to do it quite early, I feel like maybe if he doesn't get to it early, and for example, he rocks Sanhagen multiple times, he tries to get him out there, and then he survives to the second round, and Moraes gets tired. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I feel like that fight will obviously turn to Sanhagen.
Yeah.
Just take him down and just do whatever you want to, ground and pound him or whatever you want to do, kind of. So I'm not too sure about Moraes, how he is with wrestlers. Maybe you can comment more on it, or what's the kind of style that's to beat him.
He's very the guy's an elite fighter. He's able to he can hang with anyone no matter where it goes. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be worried about him being taken down much either. I think he's more than capable of just hanging with guys, using his grappling, using his jiu-jitsu, getting back up to the floor. I think he can submit guys as well. Excuse me. Sure, he submitted Rafael Assunção, so he's well able. And Rafael Assunção is no joke on the ground. So that was a serious name to have on your record, especially via submission. So, I think he'd be able to handle Sanhagen regardless of where it goes. Vice versa, Sanhagen might be coming into this bit of an underdog. I don't know if this one will be a finish because of just a variety of factors. I think I love Moraes' striking. He's probably one of my favorite strikers in the UFC. Just how clean it is, how technically perfect a lot of his strikes are. It's so good to watch. Sanhagen's footwork, love that then as well. He's kind of got some. He's really good. He's good to watch as well all around. So I'm unsure about this one, if I'm honest, Jip. But I think if anything, I'm going to go with Moraes. But I think this is going to go 5 rounds. I'm going to say that. I go with 5 rounds, and I can't see anyone finishing it. We'll go with a decision, 5 rounds. I could change my mind come Saturday now, but that's what I got for now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Moraes will win, and I just feel like his best opportunities. I thought it was a 3-round match, but I was like, I completely forgot it was a main event.
Could be a war.
That's what I was saying. With Moraes, if he gets him out there in the first round and Sanhagen survives to second round, I thought it was 3-round. But I just feel Moraes' best way to win is by KO early. I just feel like dangerous in that first round. He's kind of like McGregor in terms of just how dangerous he is as a fighter. And Moraes is actually not as small as I thought he was. He's 5'6", so it's not really that small for a bantamweight division. So
it's Sanhagen who's really big for that division. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's a great fight, great main event in a division where there's just so much talent everywhere. In the top 15, probably one of my favorite divisions at the moment, along with the lower divisions like featherweight, flyweight, and lightweight. Probably my favorite divisions. That recaps all of our card for this weekend. It was a fantastic card. Before you go, is there anything you want to plug?
Anything you want to plug? Yeah, go for it. We'll go to MMA Latest. You'll find all the video work that we do over there. If you want to see, I do a bit of work with MMA Viking every now and again, a bit of writing, so I can help out when I can. It's all specifically Nordic MMA. MMA Latest all video now as well, so we don't have any writing. We're not doing it right anymore. Our socials are also hopping. Feel free to check us out there. And last but not least, feel free to if you're looking for fight records, you know where to go. Tapology's the place. How about you?
Tapology is obviously a fantastic place for people to find out the records of everyone, and everyone follow MMA Latest are producing really good content.
Yep.
Obviously, for me, Obviously, my podcasts are out with guys like James Lynch, Sanhagen, and Jake Riggs, and so many other guys. I've got some good interviews out, obviously, with guys like Mason Jones. On MMA Prospects, Norbert Navani Jr. I interviewed this weekend. So I'm hoping to get some more interviews for over there. That's probably where most of my interview content will come from, in terms of like the prospects. I try to look at my channel as well. Thank you for joining me. Obviously, this is quite a long, it's like an hour breakdown.
Love it.
Which is good, because obviously there's a lot of memories how good the fights are for this weekend, how much depth we wanted to go into it. Thank you for coming on, and speak to you soon.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.